Hi everyone, the Greek goddess of great reading here. It's been about 2 months since I've done my last review. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but this semester has proved to be kicking me in the butt. I'm back now though, I haven't given up. It just took me a really long time to read my latest book, which was Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. It's one of the books I got for Christmas from my sisters, and it's a large book. It's not too large, but the font is fairly small. I've been fairly busy. Those things added together. It took me 2 months to read this book. Not proud. Set in Italy during World War II, this is the story of the incomparable, malingering bombardier, Yossarian, a hero who is furious because thousands of people he has never met are trying to kill him. But his real problem is not the enemy. It is his own army, which keeps increasing the number of missions the men must fly to complete their service. Yet if Yossarian makes any attempt to excuse himself from the perilous missions he's assigned, he'll be in violation of Catch-22, a hilariously sinister bureaucratic rule. A man is considered insane if he willingly continues to fly dangerous combat missions, but if he makes a formal request to be removed from duty, he is proven sane and therefore ineligible to be relieved. I have mixed feelings about this book. It's not a bad book by any means at all, but I was just kind of torn back and forth because there's so much contradiction in this book, and it's so ludicrous and ridiculous, but I guess that's the point because they're trying to display how dumb our government is with the rules and how manipulative it can be and how easily manipulated it can be by one individual who's on a power trip. Many of the higher-ups in Yossarian's own army, Yossarian at the end of the novel is only a captain, so that's not the highest military rank by any means, so everyone higher up, like the generals, the lieutenant colonels, they all make the decisions that end up screwing everyone else over, and Yossarian is just the one person who's willing to really stand up and say anything about it. It's a really funny book. There's lots of comedy and I found myself laughing out loud quite a lot, and I did enjoy those parts, but underneath the surface you can just tell that there's some sort of sinister, not evil, but just something wrong, just something overly wrong with the whole scenario and the whole situation, everything that's being played out. It's funny on the surface, but you just know that there's something kind of rotten underneath. And that does get eventually displayed in the end of the book. There's a chapter that is just totally, all the comedy is stripped away, and it's just all these awful images of Yossarian walking through Rome and just seeing all these horrors laid out in front of him. Horrors, not whores. There are a few whores in the book as well. Men in the army, what are they gonna do? They go off to Rome and they wanna have sex. I don't know. It's what they do. Yossarian was the only character who made sense in this entire book, but he's constantly being sort of told, it seems, by everyone else that he is making the least sense, and that sort of fact that he keeps getting told that but he doesn't believe it is a great character trait, since he's right. But if he wasn't right, it would be a totally awful character trait. But in this scenario, he is the person of reason and everyone else is ludicrous and totally over the top. This one colonel keeps raising the number of missions that all the men have to fly. It starts, I believe, at 40 missions at the beginning of the book, which is standard, I think. You know, it's kind of like you do a tour, you do a certain amount of days, and then you come home. So their 40 missions will be up. This has happened to Yossarian and some of his other friends multiple times. Their 40 missions were up at first, then they're trying to go home, so they're packing their bags and they're waiting for their discharge papers, but then this Colonel Cathcart just raises the missions another maybe 5 or 10 missions. And by the end of the book, the missions have been raised so much that they're at 80 missions. 80 missions! Are you kidding me? That's like so many opportunities for you to die. Like, is that what you're trying to do? Are you trying to kill all your soldiers? Sort of have them take turns. Why are you keeping these same, and it's just their regiment. It's just the one Yossarian is in. Everyone else has only been doing 40 missions, but it seems that his specific regiment is just so corrupt by these generals and colonels who have these power trips and who want publicity for their contribution to the war. It's so messed up. But I guess, even though I did say at the beginning of this review that I was kind of conflicted about this book and how I felt about it, I did overall like it. It's just because I was reading it so disjointedly since I was very busy and whatnot, so I didn't get to sort of plow through a whole bunch of it in one go. I did like it. I did like most of the characters, the ones that you're supposed to like, just like the ones you're supposed to dislike. But overall, Yossarian was a great representation of the man who knows what he thinks is right but is constantly pitted against by the rest of the world and the rest of society. And that's kind of relative to some society mentality today in certain parts of North America, certain government parts of North America. I don't know. All I'm saying is I like the book. If you like comedy, if you like war novels, it's not a lot of fighting that is depicted, it's more so the in-between stuff, and that's kind of more interesting to me than the actual fighting. It's hard to read about fighting and picture it in your head. But if you like war novels, comedy, and maybe a little bit of romance at times, I think it's a good book. Harper Lee, the author of To Kill a Mockingbird, said that Catch-22 is the only war novel I've ever read that makes any sense. And while at times it didn't make much sense to me, I think she's right. Check out Catch-22 by Joseph Heller if you haven't already. I'm the Goddess of Great Reading, and until next time, keep reading.